symbolic return of the self and narrative reconstruction, re entering the story after collapse. We identify this phase as the re emergence of authorship. This is not recovery in the behavioural sense, it is symbolic reclamation. The survivor begins to re enter their own story. Until now, identity has been reflexive, co opted, or silenced. Now, for the first time since collapse, the self begins to speak. There's four key components that re emerge in this phase: the internal voice rather than the introject, temporal coherence, so the past, present, and the future are no longer collapsed. There is symbolic memory. Narratives are rebuilt, not reenacted. And the central ego access beyond the libidinal and anti libidinal split. The self is not fully present yet, but its outline appears. The process of rebuilding identity is narrative in form. The survivor begins to tell their story with symbolic meaning, recognize cycles and patterns, distinguish self from introject, place the narcissist as an external figure, not an internal master. This is the beginning of symbolic authorship, the recovery of meaning from trauma. It often appears as writing, art, speaking aloud, storytelling in therapy, making sense of dreams. The symbolic begins to flow again. Input theory holds that collapse fractures the central ego into five archetypal functions. One, the interject enforcer. Two, the mute child. Three, the false protector. Four, the redeemer. And five, the truth self. This phase initiates internal dialogue between these parts. The self is no longer orbiting, it is assembling. Symbolic indicators of self return. The survivor may begin to feel time passing again. Notice emotional variety, not just dread. Experience grief for the first time rather than panic. Name what happened clearly, coherently, without collapse, and experience symbolic dreams rather than trauma loops. They may not trust this yet, but empathy confirms this is what authorship feels like. But there are cautions and there can be misinterpretations. This phase is still fragile. Over identification with the healed self can cause suppression. Interjects may reassert control through guilt, shame, or perfectionism. Relational triggers can recollapse the narrative structure, and the narcissist may attempt symbolic or real re entry. This is why MPIT teaches that recovery is recursive, but authorship is directional. You may loop, but now you have a map. This is the first time you can say, I remember who I am, I remember who I was, and I can hold both without collapse. It is not the end of a collapse, it is the beginning of something else, the self as subject. Peace out.